think the play is really cool. It's like a little pressure cooker with just two characters, and that's really fun. And it's really, really fun to be able to do that kind of a play in such an intimate space. In a big theater, you have to have all sorts of considerations about being heard and understood and moving in such a way that they can read you from the back row of a large house. Here you can do really small, intimate, almost cinematic style of acting, and the audience still gets it, and that's really fun.
Yeah. I don't know, I've never done a show at Yellow Tree before, and there's this, I am very drawn to theaters that are women run.
You're doing a play, you have to put yourself into the situation, your own imagination, and try to, as much as possible, strip away preconceptions. And I think a lot of times the stuff that's really good about what other people have done is going to be kind of embedded in your thinking about the role to begin with. So you can't erase it altogether. It's also really good. I mean, there were a couple of really fantastic performances in that film, and so you don't want award-winning, and you don't want people to come and say, "Oh, well, gosh, he just really wasn't as good as James Caan," but you don't want them to come and say, "Oh, well, you know, I don't know."
I don't know what they would say.
I don't know
Some
what they
other
would
kind
say.
of thing.
Some
Anyway,
other thing, or like, "Oh, he's just copying," or well, you know, whatever. I'm going to stop talking now because I don't.
No,
really
but
know
I
where
totally
I'm going.
understand. I think that's the being a comedic performer, which is my favorite thing to be. Of course, I loved Kathy Bates' performance in this movie because she was so funny, so that it made the things that she did more startling. But you know, Stephen King wrote her that way to begin with, and then her interpretation was just mind-blowing, and I just enjoyed it so very much. And at the time, I will say this though, when that movie came out, there was a different kind, we were still getting to the realism, the level of realism that we are experiencing now in films, I think, especially for the Stephen King films that are coming out right now. So they may have funny things to say, but they're not. The camera's not lingering in those moments and things like that. So I think that I don't want to replay exactly what she did, because I kind of think it's a bit outdated, to be honest. I would rather try to let her live in a very realistic place and let the comedy absolutely come from, she is replacing words that she shouldn't use with, you know, with ones that she can, but she's just as, you know, vehement in that moment as she would be if she was swearing like a sailor. Is that she really is a caretaker, and I think that she has been through a lot in her lifetime. I'm still kind of trying to discover what I think those things are. But all in all, like, you know, she loves animals, and we know that from our words in the little book. But when she found herself to be very lonely, she went and got animals in order to sort of soothe her. And I can't see anything wrong with someone who's an animal lover like myself. What I think what was the other thing? It's admire and things that you deplore. No, what was it?
No, where their faults lie.
Yeah. Where their faults lie. And I don't think that a lot of people might think that a flaw of hers might be her mental illness, but I think that I would say a flaw for her is that she possibly, most likely, did not seek care for any of the thoughts that she has, that there's no way that she's gotten through life without someone telling her, you need help. And she either just decided to ignore that information, didn't didn't have a way to get it, or however that happened. I think the flaw was not seeking it. Suffer from trauma, you know. I think understanding, seeing the trajectory for one person to go through something that will, you know, live with him forever and ever and ever, and also, you know, what it kind of, that it can happen to anybody. It really could happen to anybody. And as you know, even as a victim of fraud, like I was a victim of fraud for solar panels. Long story, don't ask me, because I will go into a rage. But
I'm going to ask you
yeah,
at some point.
that feeling, there's a weird shamey thing when you get taken advantage of by anybody that makes you go quiet about it. And there's a moment at the very end of the play that I think is just really sits in the realness of dealing with all of those feelings.